Adjustment. I'm Jim Lesko. I'll be chairing this meeting today, and I would ask the members to introduce them, starting to my right.
I'm Anthony Goodson.
George Lycan, South Asheville.
Peggy Mann, Limestone.
First Strum, Hominick.
Lisa Stevens, South Asheville.
Robbie Taylor.
All right, you all received a copy of the minutes of August 10th. Are there any corrections?
No.
Hearing none, the minutes will stand as submitted. If you're going to testify today, you'll have to be sworn in. So at this time, if you're going to speak, will you stand up, and a couple of you put your hand on the Bible, the rest on the hand, the shoulder of the other people, and we'll take care of that. Okay, do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. All right. Incidentally, if you have your cell phone or other electronic gadget in your pocket, we'd appreciate it if you would put it in silent mode. Josh, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Before we begin, I just want to address one change to the agenda. ZPH 2011-00077, as the board's already aware, has been moved to the last spot on the agenda, and staff made that decision in conjunction with speaking with the applicant and members of the board to allow for proper public discussion, just based on phone calls and the number of parties involved. We didn't want to rush the other cases before the board.
Okay, that's fine.
The first application that you have before you is on behalf of Bonnie Gannon. The owner of the property is John and Pearl Tonioli. The case number is ZPH 2011-0075. Subject property is at 892 Glenbridge Road. PIN number 9634524682. And it's in zoning district R1. The applicant's applying for a 10-foot reduction in the front yard setback from 20 feet to 10 feet to allow for an addition to a double-wide mobile home.
All right. Who is presenting for the applicant? Please come forward and sit up here and tell us what you'd like to do and what you'd like for us to change. And what is your name, please?
My name is Art Lehman. I'm the general contractor on the project. Ms. Gannon would like to add an addition on the front of her mobile home due to changes in the family. The addition's not going to cause any safety hazards, no changes to the roads. The variance is off right now by 10 feet, so we're asking for a reduction in 10 feet. That's basically it. It's pretty simple.
Are there other possible solutions to the problem?
Not that I've tried. I've tried to look and resolve of putting the addition on, because it is a mobile home. It's restricted to where we can and can't do the addition in the foundation due to the sewer and septic and water lines. I've tried and looked numerous different ways of doing an addition for her needs in other areas of the house, but the lot is just entirely too small.
I'll also note for the Board of Adjustment that we didn't have any members of the public speak in opposition, either by phone or email, or any other communications to our office, and this was a parcel that was platted in a mobile home that was placed prior to zoning in the area.
Members, other comments?
So there was no opposition from any of the surrounding occupants, residents?
Is there anyone else in the audience to speak for or against this project? Okay, at this time, I'm going to close the public hearing. Is there a motion to adopt the finding of facts?
I'll make the motion that we adopt these, the finding of fact regarding this application.
All right, is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the minutes reflect that there was unanimous vote.
Would you like me to read the findings of fact?
Just a note, you don't have to read them, but you can, you have to pick either 6A or 6B.
Yeah.
6A, and
Okay.
the length of it.
Okay, I can do that.
One thing I'd like to interject here, Mr. Lehman, do you certify that the information you provided to the board is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Okay, fine.
Mr. Chair, based upon the evidence presented to this board, including the following exhibits: petitioner's application, submitted development plan, the GIS maps, the finding of fact worksheet, and other data, I move that this board adopt the following findings of fact. 1 through 3, continuing 4, 5, and 6A. This application does meet the requirements for granting a variance by demonstrating an unnecessary hardship on the owner for the following reasons, A through G.
All right, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the minutes show that there was unanimous vote to support this submission.
Mr. Chairman, we just need one more motion to approve or deny the case.
Oh,
You made a motion for the findings of fact.
Yeah.
So now you need to make a motion.
We just did that.
Oh, that was
Right.
that
Yeah.
one. Sorry.
actually, okay, point of clarification on the sequence, I believe, would be that what I just read should be the first of the flow. Is that correct?
No, well, it could go either way, and we decided,
Okay, then the first one is what she wanted.
yeah, find the fact and then make the motion.
Okay, fair enough.
But you can do it the other way around, nothing wrong
Okay,
with
all
that,
right.
but that's what we decided to do.
All right, good.
Okay, Josh, how about 76? You're good.
All right, the
That's
next
already
case
quick.
before you is an application for a conditional use permit and plan unit development in the name of Mission Health System. This is construction of a new office, and it meets our plan unit development requirements by being in excess of 35,000 square feet. One peculiarity about the project is the total project does bridge the Buncombe County and Henderson County lines. My understanding from speaking with the applicant is they've already received all the necessary approvals from the town of Fletcher. So this is their last in a set of approvals, and we'll just be looking at the side of the project that resides within Buncombe County. And we've had no communications from the public in opposition to this project.
All right. Are you the presenter?
One of two.
Okay, what is your name?
My name is Mike Lewis, Senior Project Engineer from McGill Associates.
I'm Bill Roark, Project Manager for McGill Associates.
Would you spell your last name, please?
R-O-A-R-K.
All right, tell us what you would like to do.
As Josh said, we're representing Mission Health System along with Hardy and a joint venture project in Fletcher. We have received the Fletcher's town approvals at this point. What we're proposing meets all the standards. We're meeting all the setbacks, we meet all the parking requirements. We're in the process of permitting for stormwater and erosion control. But we're going to pick the more stringent of each of those requirements to make sure that we've satisfied Buncombe County and Town of Fletcher and Henderson County's standards. we're here because of the size of the project, not because we're seeking a variance from any standards.
This is the area that was jackhammered north of.
That's correct.
Ingalls.
It's the former Alliance Trucking facility. Yeah, so if you've been down through there, yeah, there's some nice piles of some granite and things that we've chewed up getting ready for this project. As you look through there, you'll see that we meet all the standards. And the only, I guess, negative in the staff report is the fact that there will be increased traffic, which is true when you're looking at bringing additional health care to the community. Obviously, we're going to bring some additional traffic. You can't avoid it.
We don't address that
Yeah.
traffic problem.
Yeah, so,
That always comes up, or nearly always comes up.
right.
That's out of our purview. So it looks like you met all the requirements, and
That's correct.
not been any opposition to the project.
Not to my knowledge.
Members, any further discussion? I'm going to close the public hearing at this time.
Mr. Chairman, you might want to just check and make sure that there's no one else in the audience. who
Oh,
wants to speak.
thank you, yeah. Is there anyone else that would like to speak before I close the public hearing? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Lance. I got property behind the proposed
Sir.
project.
Right.
If you could-
Y'all are gonna.
Were you sworn in?
Well, I wasn't, no.
All right. The chant of the Bible. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, and what's your name, please?
Chris Lance.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I got a driveway right through the middle of the proposed project there. I don't see why all this has gotta happen here, pretty much. Traffic concerns, which I know it doesn't involve you, but, this is kinda concerning me since I'm behind the project here.
Show us where you are on that map.
Probably right here, Alliance Page Road, right down the middle of it.
So where's your property?
Probably about right here. Right here. Alliance Page Road,
Do you have how do you get to your property right now?
that road right there.
Well,
Is it residential property? I mean, is that where you live? Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was thinking there was a business or a mechanics here or something back in there. I don't know if that's the exact location. I wondered
Well,
if
just
yours
a
was
farm back there, yeah.
residential.
Yeah, residential, yeah.
that's going to be a road.
It is a road now.
It's a road now.
It's currently a road.
Yeah, currently it's an asphalt and some of it's gravel drive. This will all be improved as an asphalt road with curb, gutter, all proper storm drainage. And in fact, the location of this is based on providing access to his easement because this road is centered within his easement to maintain the access to the property.
Okay, well, do you think, is there a problem for you having access? Do you see a problem?
I hope not. Looks like a pretty big project. I mean, I need to get in and out, so,
Are you concerned that in the middle of the construction phase, that you might be blocked from your home?
yes, exactly, yeah.
I can address it. We've already gone through the demolition phase, and during that phase, we're very specific to make sure the contractor did not disrupt access to Mr. Lennox's property, and that will continue as we go forward with this project. We understand that that's the only way in and out, and we certainly will maintain access to this property.
It's a legal question, it's probably outside the purview, but do you have a written right-of-way?
It's on my deed, yeah.
It's on your deed?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
and
on
you're
our-
going to honor that, yeah,
It's
okay.
shown on the drawing.
I don't think you have a problem, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your time.
You guys are communicating, I mean, there is an
Yeah,
open
we're
line.
communicating, yeah. Just got a call yesterday. Thank you.
Okay, I'm formally closing the public hearing.
Motion.
Motion for a finding of fact.
Do I need to do this up here or just
Yeah,
this?
well, I'll do that.
Do this one.
Okay, to the presenters. Is the information you have presented to the board accurate and the best of your knowledge and belief true?
Mr. Chairman, based on the evidence presented to this board, including the following exhibits: the petitioner's application, the submitted development plans, the GIS map, finding of fact worksheet, I move that this board adopt the following finding of facts. Numbers 1 through 5. This application does meet the requirements for granting conditional use permit for a PUD for the following reasons. A through
Victor.
A through B?
B.
A through V, yeah.
A through V.
All right, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the findings. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Let the minutes show there was unanimous vote to approve. Maybe you want to go ahead with the...
I'll motion for an approval of the conditional use permit as requested.
There's been a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the minutes show there was unanimous vote to support.
I'll get a new one. Trade it in.
Right. Do the version.
All right. Kill some trees.
Yeah.
Unnecessarily. Yeah.
Everyone ready? You got the proper things in front of you?
Which one, we finished Mission Health.
Okay, Josh, how about number 78?
Okay, the next case that you have before you is ZPH 2011-0078 and 00079. It's made on behalf of David Kidder, President and CEO of the Carolina Adventist Retirement System. This project is taking place at 95 Holcomb Cove Road. It's a nursing home addition and renovation. They are applying for a conditional use permit plan unit development based on the square footage requirements. In addition, they're also applying for variances or variance and setbacks to allow expansion up to property line with parking and with a portion of the building. My understanding is there's not going to be any additional patient capacity or staff capacity with this addition at this time. It's a functionality expansion is what I understand of the project at this time. We've had no opposition voiced from members of the public.
All right. Will the presenters please come forward and give us your names, please?
My name is David Kidder. My name is Daniel Hyatt with Broadbooks Associates.
All right. Proceed.
Thank you. He was pretty well correct on that. After 35 years, we're wanting to renovate and expand our existing nursing facility in Candler. We've been there in operation for the past 35 years, and in order for us to stay marketable in the community, we need to expand and renovate our facility. We're adding on some additional square footage, but we're keeping our number of beds at the same 118 beds. Not adding any more more staff, for some more square footage, and renovating the inside of the facility. We're doing this just to keep it marketable for the industry.
From a site design standpoint, I'd note that we're currently pursuing stormwater approval. We're working with Mike Goodson. Existing utility infrastructure is in place and appropriately sized for this expansion. We're working with the city of Asheville on a fire line extension to service the renovated building. In terms of lighting and parking and access, all those facilities are existing, and we're simply improving them in place.
Okay, but it's contingent on getting all those approvals, you realize that?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Did you say that you were adding parking right up to the property line? Is that?
We are adding 6 parking spaces on the north end of the building. Currently, rehabilitation patients have to walk through the entire nursing facility.
Do they really?
To access the rehab area. And so by adding these 6 parking spaces, we can give them direct access to the rehab center without them having to go through the whole center.
Will there be additional lighting? Because isn't that, one of my offices is right out in Candler. And so, but that'll be additional lighting there for those patients. Will they, on those 6 parking areas also?
There's existing lights that
okay.
that are back there, and that entrance will be, it's not currently an entrance really, but it'll be enhanced.
This will be for our outpatient therapy for our campus, for the retirement community.
Okay. But right now, we're just handling the conditional use. So that we'll handle that first, and then we'll handle the variance.
Sure.
All right. Any further discussion? Is there anyone else to make any presentations on this project? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing at this time for number 78. Okay. Messrs. Kidder and Hyatt, is the information you have provided to the board true and accurate to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, sir.
Okay, may I hear a motion for the adoption of the finding of fact?
Mr. Chair, based upon the evidence presented to the board, including the following exhibits, petitioner's application, the submitted development plans, GIS maps, findings of fact worksheet, I move that the board adopt the following findings of fact. 1 through 5. And 6A. A through B.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to adopt the findings of fact. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record show there was unanimous vote on the finding of fact. Okay, let's move to now the variance, which is number 79.
You can work these all at the same time.
Oh, well, no, I guess we have to do that all, we have to do one
We
for
did-
each one.
yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay. We need a second motion.
Based on the finding of the facts and for the reasons set forth therein, I move that the requested variance be approved.
This is a conditional use, yeah.
Right.
Okay, is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to approve the application for the conditional use. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Again, there's unanimous vote to support the conditional use. Now we'll move to the variance.
There are 3 areas in which we are requesting a variance to the dimensional requirements. The setback along Holcomb Cove Road, We're requesting a 4-foot variance where the building, the roof overhang extends just inside the setback. The other area is along the private drive, Parkview Drive, which is in the front of the facility. The new patient drop-off canopy will extend approximately 7 feet into the front setback in that location. And then, of course, the third is the 6 parking spaces for the rehabilitation area in the rear of the facility.
Did we get a artist rendering of that projection?
There should, it was my
Have
understanding.
existing, but I don't,
I thought we included the elevations.
oh, it's on there, okay.
These are relatively minor changes in the site this side.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And they're largely driven by the fact that the existing building, the overhang on the existing facility is fairly unique. And so in an effort to match that overhang, we encountered the issue.
And to me, it looks like your other additions or changes are to enhance patient comfort and safety.
Correct.
Is there anyone else in the audience to speak for or against this project? And Josh, remind me, there was no comment from...
No, sir.
All right, at this time, I'm going to close the public hearing. Is there any further discussion here? None. Again, gentlemen, is the information you have provided to the board true and accurate to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Motion on the finding of fact?
I'll make a motion that we adopt the findings of fact, Mr. Chair, based upon the evidence presented to this board, including the following exhibits: petitioner's application, the submitted development plans, the GIS maps, the findings of fact worksheet, and supporting data. I move that the board adopt the following findings of fact, 1 through 6G. 6G. Oh, I'm sorry. 1 through 5, and then 6A, this application does meet the requirements for granting a variance by demonstrating an unnecessary hardship on the owner for the following reasons, A through G.
All right. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to accept the findings of fact. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, there's a unanimous vote. Okay, now that we need a motion to approve or deny the variance.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance.
Okay, is there a second to that?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, let the record show there's a unanimous vote for the variance, support the variance.
Thank you.
Go away and build.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
We do.
I know, that's all I put it in.
It becomes the walls of the new building up here.
I can't find my, I got it here, but here, we got, I see we got
Is it Blythe?
76 up here.
It's a typo.
So
Oh, okay, I got case 76 on there, and we're 70. It
77.
should be 77, all right. All right, we can move right ahead with case ZPH 2011, number 77.
And Mr. Chairman, the applicant in this case is Blythe Development Company on behalf of CIP Construction. They're applying for a plan unit development and conditional use permit for a property currently owned by George and Lisa Willis. The subject property is at 264 Charlotte Highway, and the PIN numbers involved are 966792, 6949, 966 or 967703, 3031, and 9667925907. The zoning classifications are split on those PIN numbers, and it is within the neighborhood service and R2 residential districts. They're proposing a 24-unit apartment building. And just some framing comments about this case. What the board is looking for, or looking at, if you'll look at sheet 2 of proposed alternative 1 for Barrington Village, the board is examining the context of that one apartment building. The other portions of the project are currently vested and have already begun construction. This will be integrated into the larger project, but after looking at the case, this is the part of the project that is up for the board's approval and discussion today. We looked at it like many of the properties in Buncombe County that were built prior to zoning or had vested rights prior to zoning. And the board's heard several cases like that, like the Biltmore Estate, Price School. We're just looking at the new development rather than the context of the entire development on the site. And I'll defer to Kurt for any other legal framing for this case.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, because there could be, let's say, other issues that would not necessarily be relevant to this particular conditional use application. So we want to try to maintain that we look at this application sort of independently of everything else that is going around it. And that would be my advice to the board.
All right. Can you keep us clear and keep that clearly separated for us?
Well, I will do my best, but you know, one of those things is I just want to make sure that when you all, when it comes time, because you may be hearing public comment, and it gets very, I don't like censoring people who come to public meetings and have something to say, but I think the ultimate thing comes that when you are making your decision, that it is really about this specific building and not the entire project in general.
Okay, I will depend on you to advise us
I'm
whether the
ready.
facts presented
Yes,
pertain to what the change we're making.
exactly.
Okay, does everyone understand that in this room? All right, let's proceed. Who will be presenting? Okay, and your names, gentlemen?
My name is Jason Hoyle with Blythe Development Company.
John Akers with Anderson and Associates.
All right.
Thanks for the opportunity to present today. We are presenting for approval for the conditional use permit for a adjacent property to CIP Construction's Barrington Village project. There have been some outstanding issues with retaining wall number 9 on the current project, and what we are requesting is our best option to mitigate those issues. What we plan to do is our intent is to purchase the piece of property to incorporate the conditional use permit and to relocate a building that was previously planned to go above retaining wall number 9 on this current piece of property. It's a plan that we plan to implement to mitigate some of the issues coming up with the wintertime getting here pretty soon, and to expedite the schedule.
Can you point that out on that map where the retaining
Yeah.
wall is?
Could you kind of take us through the whole concept?
Yeah, John Akers is with Anderson and Associates. John's going to kind of take us through.
Engineer on the project, and would you like to see the overall
Yeah.
existing
Yes.
site? This is the existing Willis property that we're looking at currently.
And where is the main highway there? Is that, do I see it?
This is Charlotte Highway.
Right.
74A. This is the existing entrance off of Overton Way. The access for this building will be off of Portway Lane, which has access back to Overton Way. So they'll be eliminating the existing driveway that's there currently, which will help eliminate a current safety issue, having driveways close together. This existing will be the proposed parking. It's more than adequate to meet the county's requirements. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I can usually talk fairly loud. The landscaping also will be consistent with the rest of the development. With CIP's development, we'll have similar landscaping. We're also maintaining the existing wetlands and providing a tree preservation area to the rear of the property, maintaining the existing stream banks, and only adding a small retaining wall in this area. We'll maintain some 20-foot setbacks on the entire site as well. And we're in the process currently of addressing the stormwater issues, working with Buncombe County on stormwater erosion control. We've submitted for those permits already. If there's questions on the existing site,
The gradient of the soil and the surface there is how does that shape up?
I think I can show you the grading plan.
If I walk from 74A up toward your drawings, is that an uphill walk?
That is an uphill. There's currently a steep incline there, and what we're going to do is fill in the driveway that's there currently, and it'll be just a continuation of the bank along that area. It's currently right. There's a bank right here, and we're going to have our parking will be at the top of that bank, and we'll just fill in the existing driveway here. The building will be stay fairly high up in elevation, and we will drop it back fairly quickly to maintain our stream buffer or maintain our stream bank in this area in the back.
And that's where you're talking about the retaining wall?
Yes, ma'am. There'll be a small retaining wall that'll come around this way, and it'll be, I believe, it's about somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 16 feet in height.
Mr. Hall, you talked about some additional property you're getting in your opening remarks.
Yes, sir. This is it, right?
This is yes, sir. This is the additional property.
And what
I
is the
can show
status
you-
of that right now?
Well, right now, we have it under contract, and it's part of the purchase agreement is the approval of a conditional use permit that we're here for today.
Okay.
What is on there right now, that, where you just had your hand?
There's I can show you on the existing.
Is there a structure there?
There are two structures there currently. There's an existing, it doesn't show up on this plan sheet, but I believe it shows up on the one. Oh, I'm sorry. Flip all the way to the end. Is the existing, you should have the existing conditions and demolition plan in your.
That should be sheet 1 of 6.
Yeah.
There's an existing building here and here.
Did I hear demolition?
Yeah, well, those two buildings will be removed on the site.
Are they vintage or what's?
No, so they're I describe them as metal type buildings.
I mean, they've been there very long.
I don't know the exact dates, but they don't appear to be any older than 50 years. I would say in the neighborhood of 30 to 40 years. I believe the county records, we could confirm that if we need to.
This is a pretty steep property in areas, isn't it?
Some places, yes, sir.
If you look at the topography map, that's. All right, anything else you want to tell us?
Is there anything else we need to clarify for you? We can.
Well, I sense that there's going to be other comments, and that will probably open up further discussion.
Can I just ask a point of clarification? You guys are proposing to, have you built building 4 yet?
No, ma'am.
It's not there, is it?
No, ma'am.
Is the parking there?
On building 4? No, ma'am.
Okay. That's what I wanted to think.
So the
I think
plan
there's-
is to take those two buildings out. Is there a retaining wall on that area there?
There's an existing retaining wall that comes around as part of Building 1 that sits over here. There's an existing retaining wall that comes around here, and it turns back this way, and it protects the stream bank and provides the crossing for Portway Lane. What we propose to do is take a section of that out and simply continue it around this way, and it'll get it will go no higher than it is currently in this area, and will get lower as it goes around to the end.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. Okay, then now I think we're more clearly understanding what you're wanting to do.
Mr. Chair, I'll also clarify that any retaining walls built in conjunction with this application will have to meet Buncombe County's new retaining wall standards.
All right.
So there'll be anything above 10 feet will have additional screening and engineering requirements.
All right. Any further comments? Any more questions or comments from the members? All right. Stand by. Have more questions. Is there anyone else that would like to speak for or against this project? Okay, and what is your name? And were you, everybody has to be sworn. Were you?
Yes, I was sworn in.
Okay.
Yes. My name is David Patrick.
Sir, you have to speak into
Okay.
the microphone.
Yeah,
I've
please
got
sit
some-
down there. That makes it.
My name is David Patrick. I live at 132 Boulder Way, and I'm at the top of this development, the steep part where you're talking about.
Okay, can you show us
Um,
relatively where you are up there?
Yeah, I can do better than that. I'll just pass this
If you give
along.
us that, it stays
Just
here.
to be passed along,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
But they have the lots listed all the way up here where I live. I look down over this property.
Oh, okay. I think we just need a relative location. We don't need
This
exact.
is the beginning. Hold that up. I'm up here. See these last 3 sets of buildings? My property is all down this property line. I have 284 feet. And of course, I see pretty much everything that goes on down here for the last 3 years. I do have some stuff that may not completely be relevant, but I promise you, if you'll give me about 4 minutes, I'll do my very best to tie it all together. I've not done this. Remember, I'm 70 years old and I'm retired, so I'm not very
relatively young
practiced at
man,
this.
sir.
Yeah, right. Well, originally that was going to be our retirement home. I'm a veteran and I use the VA hospital here in town. So it's real convenient for us, but of course now we're going to want to sell our property. I'll get to the meat of this real quick now. My first letter there is from Blythe Development, but it's regarding some trees that they gave me for me allowing them to come onto my land because they said the land wasn't stable. The reason the land isn't stable is if you look at the second page, you'll see that they cut right into the edge of my property. They gave me a 20-foot wall where I had a nice slope and trees everywhere. The area where I live was pristine. And I realized, this has all been approved, so we know that this is all going to go in. And very frankly, I am for them moving from the top of the wall down there. And that's not the question. The question is, do they do what they say they're going to do, and does the county make them do what they say they're going to do? If you see at the second page in the picture, what happened was the newspaper came out to my house. I talked to John Boyle, told him what they did, and that I wasn't going to let them come onto my property, but yet they damaged all these trees. Well, long story short, Mr. Burton, who is one of the executives with Carroll Company, who Blythe works for them, said, well, we can't give you a berm that we promised you at the very beginning because the land is unstable. Well, sure, they made it unstable. Okay. Long story short, I finally relented and let them come onto my property because they said they wanted to stabilize it for a wall and they worried about their construction workers. I said, okay, I want to be a good neighbor. You can come on my property. Well, there's a big corner of trees that I actually let them take them down. And on top of that, they made then this wall, and for me allowing them to come on their property, they agreed to give me a berm that we were supposed to have from the very beginning. Okay. The berm was supposed to be 6 foot high with a 6 foot tall wooden boxwood shadow box fence on top of it with Leyland cypress trees all the way down. This is what all of us were told, not just myself, all of us in this community. That's been changed because the state took it over. And I'm sure other people here are unhappy about it. The point I'm trying to make is when I agreed to let them come onto my land, then they put the berm in. Well, it's only 4.5 feet high, down to 2 foot high, down the whole 284 feet. Then Josh Briggs, who's the project manager for Blythe Development, said, Mr. Patrick, where do you want the trees? This is after you put the berm in. And I said, well, the berm isn't 6 foot high, and we need the barrier from not just the site, but it's the noise. 6 days a week, 11 hours a day for the last 3 years, it just will drive anybody crazy. He said, Mr. Burton said, we will not put the trees on the berm. Okay. He said it'll have to go on my property. The question I have is, why did they do it with the very first property owner at the very beginning? Gene Taylor has the very first property as you come up Cliffview Drive. He has a 6 foot high berm. He has Leyland cypress trees on top of this berm. And the reason he doesn't have a wooden fence is, he said, Mr. Burton said, would you like one? He said, no, because he has a smaller piece of property. I would rather have the trees. So he has it, but yet none of the rest of us have it. They did the berm up my property because I let them come on, but they didn't do it for my neighbor. Now, my neighbor's view is even worse than mine, but they got mad at my neighbor, so he got no berm at all. I just wanted to point out to you that how I feel about this. And I don't entirely blame Blythe, because I really think it's a great idea to move this, get it off the wall that everybody doesn't like, and get it down there. But if they're asking this lady and this husband, and I dearly love them, that they're going to be able to sell that and get out of there, if it's a condition for that, then I'm asking you all to make a condition to allow them to do this, to do what they originally said they were going to do. I'm finished. Thank you for listening to me.
Okay, no,
wait.
go away.
Okay.
Was there a formal agreement, a contract, so that they would do this berm and the trees?
It was stated at the meeting at Reynolds Fire Department from Carroll Investment Properties, Barrington Village. At that time, they called it Bonaventure. Now they use different names. Now they're using Blythe Development to ask for this. But the point is that all the various meetings, and actually Mr. Burton came to my house and met with my wife and myself over an issue of a dead tree that was on their property, and I had my tree guy take it down, and they paid for it. At that time, I told Mr. Burton I couldn't come to the meetings. We happened to be in Florida for 3 months that winter, and the meetings were held then. I couldn't come to tell him how I thought. He said, well, it's okay. He said, we told everybody in the community that we're going to give you a 6 foot berm, a 6 foot wooden shadow box fence on top, and we're going to stagger Leyland cypress trees all the way up and down the property. I'm saying now some of the people do have some things that they've given them. My neighbor Rick here has nothing. Most of the ones up to me, I've got an average of about 3 foot berm, but no cypress trees. Those trees apparently belong to me because I gave them a bunch of my trees. I think that if you have any power to say, hey, it's a great idea to move down there. I love to see those people, and it will look nice. Their apartment buildings look very nice when they're done. But can you believe what they say? All I'm asking you to do, if you have the power to say, hey, do what you originally said, they said it to all of us. Actually, one of our attorneys lived on the property. She's since moved and rents it out to a paralegal. What's her name, Bob? Cynthia Allman. Is she here today? Okay. Cynthia Allman actually was at all these meetings, and they recorded them. Now, I know we can't go back and tear this all out, and maybe, as far as I'm concerned, it shouldn't have been built as close to us as it is, but there are 54 of us there. There are 13 of us on the property line. We've also had, if you look at the last 3 pages, a tax reduction because of this. The county, Keith Miller, who is the chief appraiser for Buncombe County, came to my house and said, this is terrible. And this is a quote, by the way. He said, this is terrible. I'm going to give everybody on the property line that's affected a 10% reduction. I did get that. I put that in there just for you all to see.
Okay.
Excuse me, you requested the reduction. in your
Yes, I
tax
did.
rate.
I actually
Didn't-
requested a reduction 2 years prior to that, too, and they said no.
Okay.
This
But I
time,
was
Mr.
just
Miller
asking.
came to my property and saw the work going on, and he said we'd get a further reduction once a house is sold. Nobody can sell on the property line, by the way.
But let me see if I'm understanding.
Okay.
You're supporting what they want to do. You're saying, yes, you
If-
want to go ahead and do this
If they will
project,
do for
but
us
you're
what...
looking back and said that they didn't do some things in the past.
Right. I'm just asking if you have the power to at least suggest or say, you know, do the right thing. We don't want to go to court. We just want to do the right thing. That's all we want.
Well, what we have the power to do, and help me, Mr. Attorney, is to enforce what we agree here to do today.
Okay.
Now, if we're looking back in time,
Really, what the issue is here is whether or not they meet the standards for the conditional use permit on the lower portion of the property. And that's really all that I
Right.
would tell the board, that that's what the focus is, and that's solely what their power is to grant or deny. The board does not have power to enforce agreements or other issues outside of that conditional use permit.
okay, see, what he's saying, I believe, is that what has been done in the past is out of our purview. We have no authority. We're looking at this specific submission today, which you say you support them going ahead and doing that.
I support if you can tie it,
Well,
or at
yeah,
least
we-
try to tie it to...
we believe that when we agree to do things in here, we can compel them to follow that agreement.
So to be clear, there was no written agreement to do,
It was all verbal between 54 of us and 2 of them.
And they put it before the
And they
board
put it
also.
before our board of, we have a
county
homeowners
board.
association, they
No,
put it before the county board too. And then they didn't do it when the state overturned the law.
Let me
That's-
ask
We're the
a
ones that got
question.
caught right in the middle of this.
The original plans, which were approved by Buncombe County for the development.
Right.
Yes.
The vested plans, did
And
they
that
have the
included-
berm and the buffer
They
on
Yes,
the
it did.
plans?
Yes, it did. Burn, buffer, and fence.
So those were on the original drawings
Yes.
approved by the county?
Yes, they were.
But after
They
the
were?
state overturned, yes, and after the state overturned this law, they more or less said, we're going to do it on a case-by-case business. So our first property owner has it, and none of the rest of us.
And just as a point of clarification, the original plans that were submitted to the Board of Adjustment and approved, those went away. The vested
They went
plans
away, okay.
that they're working off of are, my understanding, is a set of stormwater and erosion control plans that allowed them to achieve a vested right after zoning was repealed through the court action. So those are the plans that,
So they're not working off of the originally approved?
not off the originally approved Board of Adjustment plans, no.
Now, they're pretty much doing as they please.
Yes.
But that's,
Anybody else?
we may empathize with you on
I
that,
know.
but we can't
Well,
touch that.
if you have the power to do something, I appreciate it.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Yes, sir. What is your name?
Retired Colonel Robert K. Lindsay, President, Cliff Homeowners Association. I need to be sworn in.
Oh, okay. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board, I respectfully disagree with the Assistant County Attorney. I understand that this is new business. I agree with that aspect. However, Mr. Boyle and Mr. Akers opened the door when they said landscaping. What Mr. Patrick, and although Mr. Keefe did not speak to, was the question of landscaping. And Ms. Stevens asked about, was there an agreement? Our attorney, Patsy Bryson, for the board, is not here today. We're not here to argue about what's in front of you today. However, for the record, and Ms. Taylor also brought up the point, when you say things in public and you agree to do them, then they should be done. We understand the law has been changed, but for the record, I want this board to know that we intend to continue to work with Mr. Carroll, Mr. Burton, and I've not had any dealings with the construction firm because Mr. Carroll and Mr. Burton have always been there, but there is ongoing negotiation. However, as the president of this association, I am here to speak for those families that live on that perimeter. It's not just a question of property. It is a question of what they have endured and will continue to endure. Mr. Burton, and again, Ms. Taylor, I want to address my remarks to you. I think it was either you or Ms. Stevens that brought about, this was what was, and then the law changed. But the fundamental concept of giving your word in public, in a public forum, to a court reporter, present, on film, has not changed. And pursuant to that, I submit for the consideration of this board, as we continue to have good faith effort with Mr. Burton and Mr. Carroll, and again, I'm not trying to be dismissive of Blythe, I just have not had any relationship with them, and that was at Mr. Burton's request. And I acknowledge that we and the Cliff Homeowners Association will continue good faith effort to see that our residents are treated with dignity and respect. This is my last day as the president of the association. I am here not to contest what is going on. As a matter of fact, I will say that in principle, Mr. Burton and Mr. Carroll have, with me, shown good faith effort. And I acknowledge that, and I want that on the record also. However, when representatives sit here and as part of their process, as part of their acknowledgement to you, and they use the word right here, when they use the word of this landscaping, that to me opens the door. I thank you very much for allowing me to speak to this board. This will be most probably the last time, as this is my last day as president, for being here. I've been with this board since the very inception. I think it's now almost 3 years. I congratulate this board on the professional acumen that it brings to this county. I am not from this state. I have seen other boards in operation. This is an exemplary board. Are there any questions from the board to me?
Mr. Lindsay, do you support this project as submitted?
Yeah, from what I know about it, yes. Because, I mean, and again, make sure you understand, Ms. Allman is a board member who is an attorney. We met with our Homeowners Association attorney, Ms. Bryson. I don't think we take any umbrage at all to what is going on right now. There are bigger things that may or may not come before this board, but as the assistant county attorney has said, that's for another time and another day.
Well,
but as of right now, no. I personally, as the president, no problem.
Your dispute, and I believe it's linked in a way to the other gentleman, is primarily landscaping and failure to deliver berm and some of the things that were at least orally, verbally agreed to at several meetings. In other words, you're not here to talk about design flaws, construction practices, or anything of that nature. You know, you're not speaking to this. Your dispute, I mean, the resolution of your dispute would be the delivery of the items that the previous duo.
No, Mr. Lackey, that is, excuse me. I am not joined at the hip with Mr. Patrick or Mr. Keefe. I am joined at the hip with the residents of my association, of which there are two. However, this is about construction.
Well, then,
this is about construction. And again, I want to make sure that I'm deferring. I respect your county attorney. He has said that we cannot talk about business. But for the record, and as the president of this association, I want it to be known that there are issues about construction, landscaping, that the two presenters brought up previously, that are going to come under old business, that maybe at another time will be. But in my opinion, there cannot be a basis for that discussion without this discussion occurring today.
Well, okay, but there's several venues for those issues that you brought up. I'm just trying to narrow down. I got a grasp of what would resolve the problem for these two gentlemen. I can kind of see there is a resolution there.
Mm-hmm.
What is the resolution for your issues?
Inexplicably, the resolution, and again, in my humble opinion, I submit for the board that the resolution of the continuing negotiations between the homeowners of the Cliffs, as represented today by me, and Mr. Carroll and Mr. Burton, is the building of the berm, which buffers the noise, the site, etc., and the planting of the trees and the fences that was alluded to earlier. That's my presentation.
I believe we understand your arguments. We've heard you out.
Yes, you have, and I thank you for that.
And I think that should conclude it right now.
I'd like to thank the members of the board again and congratulate you on your professional acumen and your contribution and service to this community.
Okay, thank you for appearing.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
You know, there's something we've done here as a
Just a
board.
minute,
Okay.
I'm going to close the public hearing. And all right, George?
Well, there's a couple of times, several times, in fact, that there's been what I consider to be, on the grand scale of the project, a minor dispute that is major to a few of the adjacent homeowners and property owners in that area that has been resolved, I think, acceptably to everyone simply by opening the communication lines and getting some type of agreement that this could be done, a minor thing. I wonder if we could do that with this.
I think that's completely outside of our purview here, this board. We're dealing with a very specific issue. There's an opportunity been given to, this is now on the record. As you know, this is one of the things you requested. Everything that's been said in here today is recorded. That's down, it's public information now. So I think that goal was met for the presentation, but we have to address the specific issue.
Is it closed? Is it closed?
It's closed.
Mr. Lesko, I will mention that in discussions that I've had with the development group, I have mentioned that those civil agreements need to be pursued, but that they take place outside of the board's time because the board is not party to those agreements. So it's our hope that those line of communications are open.
Okay, and I think is that generally understood up on the dais here?
I'm okay with that.
Okay. All right, may we move ahead? Is there a motion for the findings of fact? But first of all, I would ask Mr. Hoyle and Mr. Akers, is the information you provided to the board true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, based on the evidence presented to this board, including the following exhibits, the petitioner's application, the submitted development plans, the GIS map, and the findings of fact worksheet, I move that this board adopt the following findings of fact, A through 5. The application does meet the requirements for granting a conditional use permit for a PUD for the following reasons, and A through, probably V again.
A through V.
A through V.
Okay, is there a second to the motion of finding of facts?
I'll second it.
There's been a motion and a second to adopt the findings of fact. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, let the minutes show there was unanimous vote on the finding of fact. Okay, is there a motion to approve or deny the application?
Based on the foregoing finding of fact and for reasons set forth, therefore, I move that the requested variance be approved.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second the approval of the conditional use permit.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to approve the application. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the minutes show there is unanimous vote to support the application.
I do have a question for the attorney.
Sure.
Now that we approved their moving building 4, they can't build it where it was, right?
Yes, they have amended their plans.
Okay.
Can we?
I'm sorry, do you have a comment?
I know this is not relevant to the specific case, but I want to make sure that if there was an agreement put in place, it's honored. I stand on principle, and it should be honored. So that's just where I stand, and I want that to be known. If it was an agreement, we should honor it.
Well, I think this board has taken the opportunity to allow citizens to make their case, if you will, and the facts are clear, and we would not have had to do that. But I think citizens should always have the opportunity to speak out. I think everyone on this, every member of this board feels that way.
Yep.
I think we've met that goal today here, and I think that we've done the right thing as a board. Is there any other business before us?
Mr. Chairman, it looks like that concludes your agenda.
All right. Any public comment further? Hearing none, I call for adjournment. That's 1:10.
Mr. Chair, you moved us right along.